Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao, after watching Errol Spence versus Mikey Garcia, says Errol Spence doesn't hit that hard. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang, notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the super chats, channel donations, the Venmo donations, and the Patreon family. We working. Now, there's a report from the Manila Bulletin. Shout out to them. It's by Nick Giango. You know, I'm not really good with names, but he's with Pacquiao a lot. He's a longtime Pacquiao friend and media affiliate. And the link is in the description. Pacquiao watched. He was in attendance. I was in attendance at the AT&T Stadium. Errol Spence dominated Mikey Garcia, which was, in my opinion, a huge statement considering the talent level and the elite level skills of Mikey Garcia and what he showed us with other opponents. You know, so to see somebody befuddle him was pretty impressive. Now, Pacquiao, there's this article with quotes from Pacquiao, and I want you guys to see, again, link in the description. The title says, Pacquiao's take on Errol Spence. He's just like Ledwaba. And that was, if you guys remember, a late replacement fight for Pacquiao, and that's how he got his buzz on HBO and in America, really, you know. And it says Manny Pacquiao is itching to get his hands on Errol Spence, like itching, oh okay, and put him where he rightfully belongs. As he took the elevator Sunday afternoon down the lobby of the Renaissance Dallas Hotel to catch a flight to LA, Pacquiao suddenly assumed a fighting pose through a 4-punch combination whose delivery oozed with bad intentions. It was obvious that when Pacquiao unleashed that fast, furious fusion of blows, he envisioned Spence standing just inches away from him, also eager to engage. You know, and that's a picture of Pacquiao or whatnot. On Saturday night, atop of the ring, AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Spence made it clear who he wants next, Pacquiao. Pacquiao, who didn't mince words in saying that he'd welcome facing Spence, feels the U.S. fighter is not as ferocious as everyone seems to believe. Right? And then he said it in Tagalog, and he says what it translates to is, he doesn't really punch. No, he doesn't really hit that hard, said Pacquiao, who was at ringside when Spence mauled a punching bag. In fact, Pacquiao was not awed and convinced that Spence is really that good that the 40-year-old A-division champ likens him to a fighter he once bludgeoned to a pulp 18 years ago. He is like Ledwaba, right? And again, that's the South African fighter who was champion in Pacquiao's U.S. debut, June of 2001, and you know, that's what put the world on notice to Pacquiao in the States. It says, despite the excitement, Pacquiao insists that nothing is yet cast in stone. I have to talk to Al Heyman first, he said. Heyman is in charge of Premier Boxing Champ, called the shots, staging the fights with Pacquiao, Spence, and other marquee names in the Powerhouse 147 division. It says, regardless of who is going to be, Pacquiao has made it known that July is his preferred date. I want it in July so that my work in the Senate won't be affected. You know, Errol Spence post-fight said, I can fight in July. The ball is now in Al Heyman's hands. Listen, props to Pacquiao for, you know, just being a legend and wanting to take on a fight of this magnitude. Now, my thoughts on this fight. I don't know what Pacquiao is seeing. Like, I don't know if Mikey Garcia was his first fight really paying attention to Spence. I don't know if he's watched the Kell Brook and the Lamont Peterson fight, but I totally disagree with, you know, virtually everything that he said. You know, to liken Errol Spence, a big welterweight at 4'7", to Ledwaba, who was, I believe, a super bantamweight, like 122, you know, is just, I see no comparison there. I have literally no idea what Pacquiao is referring to regarding that. You know, that's like comparing Errol Spence to Guillermo Rigondeaux. Like, you could be a great fighter, but you know, that's a 122 pounder versus Errol Spence is a methodical, power punching boxer puncher at 147. You know, and it really seems as if maybe people are getting gassed because Mikey moved up in weight, and I guess the bigger guy didn't stop him. But I don't subscribe to that belief. I think, you know, there's a couple different things that have merit, that hold true with that scenario. First of all, there was a lot riding on this fight for Spence. This is not excuse. I mean, obviously Spence won and whatnot, but obviously that fight holds a lot of merit. You know, this was an important fight, I guess you could say, for Spence's career or Mikey Garcia's career, and determining, you know, people knew that the Pacquiao fight could be next, things like that. So, you know, the implications were pretty big for this fight. And I just feel that Errol Spence, if anything, anywho, I just feel that the implications were big. Errol's fighting in Dallas, you know, big event, big implications. They know Pacquiao could be next, or another big name, Sean Porter, Keith Thurman, or whoever, you know, and, you know, they want to look good. The other thing is Mikey Garcia's team, they did a fair amount of trash talking and like, hey, this guy, you know, we box better than him, we're going to be stronger than him, this, that, and the third. And I think Errol Spence, if you think about it, I think Errol Spence, you know, he just went in and he know he's winning the fight. He was cautious. I think he carried Mikey Garcia to a degree. You know, the thing is this, in boxing, you fight what's in front of you. You know, you don't worry about like overly trying to impress. The people who do that end up paying the ultimate price at some point, usually, because that's a mistake. You just, however you get the win, that's how you have to take the win, period. Like, I don't believe that you should overextend yourself and switch a working game plan in order to appease the fans, or, you know, try to force a knockout. You know, Pacquiao knows this firsthand because he tried to force the issue against Juan Manuel Marquez in like 2012, and he paid the price and he got knocked out brutally. You know, that's like one of the decade's most influential knockouts in boxing. You know, that ranks up there with the Buster Douglas Mike Tyson fight in terms of, like, you know, crazy, unexpected knockouts. You guys have to understand that Manny Pacquiao had never even been knocked down by Marquez. You get what I'm saying? He had never even been knocked down by Marquez in their previous fight. So to see Marquez, like, annihilate him in that fashion was impressive. So, you know, back to what I was saying when it comes to the Spence fight. Spence, he did his thing. He showed you different wrinkles and different shades of what he can do. That's the name of the game. And, you know, out of kind of respect for the opponent, you know, and their skill set, Mikey's known as a counter puncher. You just take the win how you can take it. You know, I think, in my honest opinion, Errol Spence carried Mikey Garcia. I think he could have, I know he was trying to get the knockout, but he was not going to, like, so hear what I'm saying. I think he was going after the knockout. So I'm not saying he didn't want to knock him out, but I think he wanted the knockout, but he's seen Mikey was durable. Mikey was tough. Mikey was, you know, showing that heart, that tough Mexican heart, or whatever you want to call it. And, you know, he didn't want to sleep on the fact that this is still a technical fighter who's every ounce of his soul is a warrior and tough and durable. And he's looking for that Juan Manuel Marquez type of, you know, come around, come from behind type of victory. So in my opinion, Errol Spence just stuck to the game plan, which is very smart. And I love to see that from younger fighters, you know, fighters under 30, because a lot of people can't stick to the script. They'll do something that's working and then fuck around and get knocked out. Look at it in the MMA, what's his name? Aaron Pico. You know, he hurt his opponent. and try to jump all over him. You know, Cody Garbrandt in the UFC recently, you know, jump all over his opponent, like thinking, you know, oh, I got him hurt, I got him, you know, and just throwing caution to the wind, and then you end up getting stretched. So it doesn't make sense to ruin Tour de Force classic performance trying to press the issue against a good fighter who's still trying. So, you know, I think a lot of people got it twisted, including Pacquiao. You know, oh, Spence don't hit that hard, he couldn't stop a lightweight. You know, Mikey's veteran, and he, you know, Mikey really wasn't taking many major risks for any prolonged period of time. Like there's little spots where he was trying and swinging and, you know, trying to connect, but he wasn't like round after round throwing caution to the wind, like, yo, if I get knocked out, I get knocked out. You know, he was really gun shy and kind of in a survival mode. So, you know, that also makes it becomes harder to knock an opponent out when they're content going the distance. I mean, look at Mikey Garcia after every single round, even rounds he was losing bad, he was like, you know, like this false sense of security thing. So, you know, you can't sleep on a person like Mikey Garcia and then just try to chump him and then they make this miraculous comeback because your dumbass was doing too much. So I think Errol probably could have stopped him, but it would have required a lot more unnecessary risk, and he was dictating the terms. You know, it's not up to Errol Spence to have to see, you know, people get the sweet science like twisted. You know, it's not up to Errol Spence to switch anything. Everything he's doing is working. I gave Errol Spence every single round, you know, without question. You know, the closest round for Mikey was round 2, and that wasn't even good enough. You know, in my opinion, I gave that to Errol Spence just because Errol Spence controlled the range, threw more punches probably. You know, I have to look at the punch stats, but all in all, he controlled more of the durations of 3 minutes than Mikey Garcia did. So, you know, that I think people are getting this, you know, oh, he couldn't stop a lightweight. Mikey's game. He's a veteran. He sparred with Edwin Valero, you know, rest in peace, one of the biggest punchers that, you know, we've seen in boxing in that weight category. The guy that people wanted to see Pacquiao fight. He's been in there with Pacquiao sparring. You know, he comes from a fight family. So I'm not surprised that he couldn't stop that, because most people wouldn't have been able to take that. You know, either their corners would have threw it in, but, you know, Robert Garcia and Pita, it looked like they wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt, and Mikey pleaded with them, hey, I know I'm not winning the rounds, but, you know, I think maybe I can pull it off and I can turn things around. And they gave him the benefit of the doubt, simple as, but they wanted to stop it, and it would have been another stoppage for Errol Spence. Let's never forget that. So, you know, I don't know what Pacquiao's talking about, to be honest, with this whole Ledwaba comparison. I see no similarities in fighting style, in size, stature, ability from Errol Spence. You know, I've never even watched a Ledwaba fight outside of, you know, the Pacquiao one. I have seen that, and that was part of his documentary. So I really don't know what he's referring to in terms of Ledwaba and Spence comparison, or saying Spence doesn't hit hard. I think Spence does hit hard. You know, Kell Brook's a big welterweight, and he felt the wrath. But again, you deal with what's in front of you. And the other thing is this: Pacquiao got stretched by a mostly career lightweight in Juan Manuel Marquez, who had the ability with skill and counterpunching to move up to welterweight, but he wasn't like the biggest welterweight. I mean, if you look at Marquez next to today's welterweights like Keith Thurman's, and, you know, he might even be smaller than Sean Porter. I don't know. You know, definitely probably mass-wise. And Marquez knocked him out. So Errol Spence could definitely hurt Pacquiao. So I don't know. But on the flip side, I'm happy Pacquiao's talking like this, because that's a huge fight. You know, that might be the next best thing. So all in all, we might have another big fight. Now, I don't want to hear anything from Pacquiao fans. If Pacquiao's oozing and exuding this level of confidence, you know, I'm seeing people saying, hey man, Pacquiao's 40. Why doesn't Spence move up to 54, 68, you know, 160 and fight Triple G and Canelo? Fuck that. Pacquiao wants to fight. You know, don't try to protect who you want to protect and then have black fighters, you know, fuck around and have this black murderers row and got to fight and scrap with whoever and move up in weight even though they aren't struggling to make weight. No, that's not how that works. Errol Spence, for this fight with Mikey, he came in like a pound under or something under 147. I ain't heard of him having no problem making weight, and you want to see him move up to 60 and 68, and then you want to say, you know, and this is what old media does. They openly tell you that they want to duck the smoke. They openly tell you who they want to protect. Oh, I don't want to see the Pacquiao fight. No, that, you know, that's going to break my heart. Well, Pacquiao's a warrior. Pacquiao's game, he's a legend. You know, we'll see what he can pull off, but I definitely want to see the fight now. Pacquiao talking greasy. Pacquiao saying that, you know, he reminds me of Ladwaba, a guy he pulverized, a guy, you know, that he beat relatively easily, saying Spence ain't got no power. Oh yeah, it's on now. I want to see this. You know, 2 southpaws. You know, Spence hasn't fought. He fought Mikey Garcia. Pacquiao, I don't know. Somebody in the media said that Pacquiao and Garcia fight alike. I don't really see that. I don't see nothing. Pacquiao got way more speed, and Mikey's way more like technical and like orthodox, you know, basic orthodox fundamentals. Pacquiao's nothing fundamental. You know, one's orthodox, one's south. So I don't even understand why people are saying Mikey Garcia fight is anything like Pacquiao. So it's a different challenge, even for Errol Spence. But yeah, definitely with Pacquiao saying these types of things, I gotta see that. I gotta see that work. Jerry's World, you know, it was lit in Dallas, so I know he would love to have an event like that. So that's my thoughts. Let's see it. You know, props to Pacquiao. I do give him credit though for seeking out challenge. I mean, he just fought Broner, and it kind of makes you wonder on his last little run with Top Rank, how come none of these fights could get made? Like you currently hear the black fighter that's with Top Rank, that's very well along his way, Terrence Crawford. You keep hearing him, Bob Arum, putting him saying, hey, I want him to fight against Errol Spence, and that's the fight I want to make. But then when Pacquiao was there, you know, a known cash cow with Top Rank, I never heard Bob Arum say, I want Manny Pacquiao to fight Errol Spence, you know? And it makes you wonder what's the case? Like, why is that the case? I never heard, you know, these fights come about, like, and then now Pacquiao moves to Al Heyman and he sounds gung-ho and he sounds like he wants these fights. You know, he took Broner. He already beat Broner, right? And he's called for like Keith Thurman. He said, you know, he said that like he wants to fight Keith Thurman and Spence now. And, you know, Spence, he didn't say he's overrated, but he kind of made it sound like his power is overrated. So it just makes you wonder, like when Pacquiao was with Top Rank, how come these fights didn't manifest? But now that you have Terrence Crawford, who needs opponents, a very good fighter, you know, Bob Arum's quickly willing to make these fights with Errol Spence. But when it was a cash cow Pacquiao, it seemed like they were giving us Brandon Rios and Pacquiao, Chris Algieri, you know, Jeff Horn. You know, what happened to Errol Spence? But Arum steadily is saying that he wants to make Crawford versus Spence, and Al Heyman's the holdup. So makes you think a bit. Let me know what you guys think. Shout out to Pacquiao. You know, if this is his last hurrah, Errol Spence already told him. He said, I man down. I get him that retirement check he looking for. So we're gonna see how this plays out. I'm in. I'm all in. Great performance by Errol Spence. Pacquiao did his thing versus Broner. Spence is no Broner in terms of fighting style. They don't fight alike. And it's a big fight. Pacquiao fought in Texas twice at AT&T Stadium with Antonio Margarito, and then also Joshua Clottey. This will be the biggest fight that he's fought in that stadium, you know, and his biggest fight in a while, probably since the Mayweather fight, right? It'll be like kind of this generation's, you know, perceived Mayweather and Errol Spence. So this could set some records. I'm in. Let me know what you guys think. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Make sure you smash the like button. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego, signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.